The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hello, everyone. This is Rob Deininger with Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, and I'm here with Jack Degraw, and like always, we're talking Yankees baseball. How you doing, Jack?
Good, Robert, and so are the Yankees doing well, so that's
Yeah, last week when we talked, they were 6-4 in their last 10 games. The week before that, they were 4-6, and this past week, the past 10 games, the Yankees are 7-3. So they're playing better baseball. They're doing a lot better, and they're moving up in the standings. And I think they're a game over 500.
Yeah, I mean the pitching's been really good, and Stanton and Torres, and they started to hit. And the good thing, Robert, I mean they had that series against the Astros that they possibly could have swept, but there was a lot of motion in that series. I mean the fans did a great job. They got into it, and it was just some good baseball to watch. And the Yankees really had a lot of enthusiasm in that series, a lot of passion.
Yeah, they took 3 from Detroit, if I'm not mistaken, and they took 2 out of 3 from Houston. And they had opportunities to win yesterday and sweep the series, but Houston's a good team, so to take 2 out of 3, it's a win,
Yeah, I mean Cole looked good against them, and they could meet up at some time in the playoffs, and Montgomery was just nasty the other night, and
yeah.
So it was good to see. It was fun baseball.
Yeah, and Montgomery, he got in a little trouble early in the game, but he grinded out a good. I think he pitched 6 solid innings, only giving up 2 or 3 runs, kept them in the game, and I think he ended up getting the win.
You know what I've noticed, Robert, the last week or so, Boone's been keeping the pitchers in longer.
Yeah, I've noticed that, right?
Yeah, I mean the one game Cole had 113 pitches, and he always goes deep, but he seemed to go 7-8 innings, and then even Corey Kluber.
Yeah,
he pitched great against the Tigers that game, and he threw 8 innings.
Yeah, and Montgomery, and he 32 2/3 inning, he's only given up 29 hits, but he's only walked 8 batters, and that's been something he struggled with, was walking batters, and he's only walked 8 walks to 28 strikeouts. So he's definitely locating his pitches better, and he's grinding out at bats. He's looked good, and before the season, the scouts said the one pitcher they expect to have a big year was Montgomery, and it looks like as the season keeps going on, he's getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean he had that surgery a couple years ago, and sometimes it takes a while to. It takes almost a full year to come back from it. So hopefully, he'll get on the ball. I mean, he's really looked good so far, and I believe this is the best starting pitching the Yankees have had after 29, 30 games in quite a long time.
Yeah, and you mentioned Kluber too, and Kluber, he's got his ERA down to 3.03. Where in his last start, I think it was over 4, pushing 5, and he dropped his ERA, and his pitches his last outing had a lot of life on him, and he looked really good.
Yeah, that was a good thing to see, because with all the time he's missed, and he was just he looked like the Corey Kluber of old. I believe it was against the Tigers, and if he can get anywhere back to where he used to be. The Yankees have an outstanding starter.
Yeah, in fact, Kluber's last that's right. Kluber in his last start went 8 innings, only gave up 2 hits, and looked great. He looked unhittable. 8 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. So he looked really good. And even though Cole didn't get a decision yesterday, he pitched 7 solid innings, only give up 2 runs, and it was 2 solo home runs to Alvarez, who just seemed to have his number, but they were solo home runs. Other than that, Cole was, his normal self.
Yeah, it's nice to see these guys, get up over 100 pitches now. And Kluber was up around 100 pitches. So it seems like, Boone's letting these guys go a little longer.
Yeah, because in the last turn of the rotation, Kluber went 8 innings, Cole 7, Montgomery 6, Germán went 5, and Taylon went 5 too. So he's letting them pitch longer, unless he has to, get him out for a high pitch count. But Montgomery, Cole, and Kluber pitched six plus innings in each of their starts, the last start.
Yeah, it's starting to look like the Yankee team, that they had on paper. So it's a good thing to see if you're a Yankee fan.
Yeah, and Domingo Germán, his last outing, he pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, but I think his pitch count got to him. I mean, he only walked 1 batter. He had 6 strikeouts. I just think, if I'm not mistaken, I think his pitch count got high, so they wound up taking him out after 5. But he grinded out a good game. I mean, when you only give up 3 runs, it's a quality start, and you're keeping your team in the game.
Yeah, even when you're struggling, I mean, if you at least can keep your team in the game, that's that's always a good thing. And Germán, he gets a little too fine with these pitches once in a while. He can give up home runs and walk people, but if he's on, he's a really good pitcher.
Yeah, and so far this season, it's been their pitching that's actually kept them in games. And now this last 10 games, their offense is starting to come around, and especially Giancarlo Stanton, who's been on an absolute tear the last 12 games. He's got a 12-game hitting streak.
Yeah, I mean, he's really been crushing the ball. And like we were talking off air, he's even went to right field a couple times, against the shift.
Yeah.
And, he's got 2 outs hits. And go ahead, Robert.
Oh, no, I was going to say, yeah, I know. I can recall at least 2 opposite field singles where he's driven in 2 or 3 runs, and I think he might even had a 3rd opposite field single to drive in a run. So, yeah, he's going the other way when given the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, now we're seeing Stanton at his best. Now you see the MVP Stanton, and if he can, the big thing with him is always staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, he'll be productive. I mean, he's a special talent.
Yeah, and I think LeMahieu just led off the Yankees bottom of the 1st with a solo home run. So the Yankees are up 1-0 over the Nats so far.
Well, that's a good start.
Yeah, but going back to Stanton, in his last 12 games, he's batting over 500 with 6 home runs and 11 RBIs. He's just been on a tear.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the other guys, like last week we were talking, they were struggling. Torres is come along. Hicks has got some big hits, and Urshella, he's been pretty solid. So, they still have some dead spots in the lineup, but at least some of the guys are coming through, and they're getting some clutch hits. So, things are looking up.
Yeah, because last week we were talking about Gleyber Torres and how, it was important that he started hitting. And his last 7 games, he's batting .308, and he's got 4 hits and 13 at-bats. But, I mean, he's starting to hit and warm up, and Hicks is batting .467 in his last 7 games. Urshela's batting .385 in his last 7 games. LeMahieu's only batting .250. He did just hit a home run now. But Brett Gardner, Aaron Judge, Clint Frazier, Higgy, Ford, they're all batting under 200 along with Gary Sanchez. So there's still a few guys in the lineup who are struggling, but that top half of the lineup's starting to be very productive.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, if Frazier can, shake out, and I hope they can just keep him in the lineup. I just hope he keeps getting at bats, and let's just see what he can do.
Oh yeah, because yesterday, Stanton had a solo home run, and then Frazier hit a 2-run home run to give the Yankees a 3-1 lead. So Frazier, he's that's been coming around. It's just they pinch hit for him late in the game so Gardner can get in for defensive purposes, and they're still, let him just play an entire game. Don't take him out for a pinch hitter like Gardner. I would rather that you just keep Gardner in there Frazier in there because he is starting to hit and he is taking his walks. And I think, Hill average will start creeping up. But he hit a 2-home run yesterday, and he's been locked in at the plate. He's just only getting 2 or 3 at-bats a game, not even 3 at-bats sometimes, because Boone does like to take him out late in the game for defensive purposes.
Yeah, I just hope they give the kid a chance. And, you want to bring up something about Andujar?
Yeah, Andujar, in the first 3 games down in minor leagues, he's batting .462 or .464 with 3 home runs and 5 RBIs. He had 4 hits in last night's game, including a home run that he absolutely destroyed. So they called him up today, and he's starting at first base and batting, I think it's 7th or 8th in the lineup tonight. But if Andujar's got a swing and a hot bat, he could be someone who could really help out until Luke Voit gets back. Because if he can play decent first base and hit, you can keep him there until Voit comes back up. And I know Urshella, they're not saying what his injury is, but there's a chance he could go on the IL, and you could then play Andujar at third until he comes back, especially if Andujar, hits while he's up here. But he's on fire. He was on fire during the first 3 games, and Luke Voit, through the first 2 games down in the minor leagues, is 4 for 6 with a home run, a double, and a couple of walks. So he's looking good, and they're hoping to have him back in a week, 2 at the most. But if he keeps hitting, he'll be up sooner than 2 weeks.
Yeah, Mike Ford wasn't doing the job offensively at first base, and Andujar, we all know we can hit. So,
yeah.
And it's good he'll get the chance. And like you were saying, if he goes to third base, you're not going to lose anything offensively.
No, and it's like people, I talk to people in group chats, and they go on about how bad he is at third base. And I have to remind them that when he was a rookie, he played third base, and we still won the division and went to the playoffs. And we ended up losing, but he didn't cost us he didn't cost us a bunch of games that hurt us. He actually played very well, so to say he's a horrible defensive third baseman is a little bit harsh. He's not good, but he's not awful to where he's going to cause you an error every game or do something that's going to cost you a game. I just think, his bat's just too good. No,
the thing is, Robert, he's gotten a reputation as being a really bad fielder, and that's not the case at all. Maybe a little below average and stuff. It's more like, his range.
Yeah.
And once in a while he throws, but it's not that bad. Like you were saying, it's not like he's an atrocious fielder, and I think a lot of fans think he's a lot worse than he actually is.
Yeah, exactly. And down in the minors, that they have him playing left field, third base, and first base. So they're mixing him around, but they want to get him more time in the outfield because I think they're a little worried about Frazier not hitting as well as they were hoping, and Gardner struggling as bad as he has. They're hoping to get some production from left field, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see him in left field here and there while he's up here. But he can hit, and what we're talking off air, he's a contact hitter, and contact hitters, they need to see live pitching day in and day out to get in that groove. And that was one of the things he struggled with last year when he was playing a game here and a game there. It's hard for a player like him who swings for contact. When you're not seeing live pitching every day, you're kind of rusty in a way. So hopefully he gets some consistent at-bats while he's up here.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see – well, we might see Voit next week, but if Urshela's on the DL for any amount of time, he could be up for, the next month because you know how the Yankees are with injuries. It's day to day, and then they're out for a month.
Yeah, and I was surprised to even see that he was being called up, but the fact that he's hitting so well, and Mike Ford was struggling offensively at first, and you got Frazier and Gardner who haven't gotten rolling yet. So I think the fact that he was hitting as good as he was, I think the Yankees felt they had to get him up here now while he's swinging a hot bat.
Yeah, and it's got to help the kid's confidence because he's been on a roller coaster, and hopefully he can take off from here.
Yeah, and tonight's lineup, they got LeMahieu batting and leading off, of course, playing third base, Stanton batting second, DH, and then you got Judge, Torres batting fourth, Hicks batting fifth. They got Gary Sanchez behind the plate tonight, batting sixth, Frazier batting seventh, Andujar's batting eighth, playing first, and Tyler Wade's batting ninth and playing second.
Yeah, I remember we were talking, a few weeks ago about, Hicks being in the third hole.
Yeah.
And they tried a lot of different players in the third and fourth spot, which is good. I mean, they had Odar there for a while, and Torres is now hitting third. So they've tried to get the lineup to gel, but for a while there nobody was hitting, so there wasn't really a lot of things you can do because nobody was doing anything offensively.
No, and Hicks got to the point where they moved him down to seventh and even eighth in the lineup for one game. And since the past week, Hicks has started to hit the ball better, so they moved him up tonight to bat behind Torres in the fifth spot. And I would have liked to see Sanchez batting behind him sixth, but they got Sanchez batting sixth tonight, and still waiting for him to start swinging a good bat because Higgy, he's, I think, 1 for his last 16 at the plate. And Boone said he would go with the hot bat. So if Sanchez has a good night tonight, he could be in the lineup then again tomorrow. It's like Boone said, it was day-to-day between Higgy and Sanchez. He'll go with the hot bat.
Yeah, I think the thing with Agassiote, I mean, I'm glad he's on the team. He does a good job defensively. He can hit some home runs, but he don't seem to me to be a guy like 400 or 500 at bats.
No.
He's
a great backup.
Yeah. 200, 250 at bats. Yeah, like something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he does call a really good game, and he is great defensively. I mean, he'll get his at-bats because of Garrett Cole. He's Garrett Cole's personal catcher, but he'll get some at-bats. Like he'll probably get over 200 at-bats this year, and that would be good. But the Yankees might have to address a catcher going into next year, especially if Sanchez doesn't have a bounce-back year.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees have 2 catchers at AAA who have major league experience. They got Robinson Chernoz, he was, and they got that Brantley guy from the Giants.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But I mean, you don't want to bring up 3 or 4 catchers, on and off. So you hope just eventually Sanchez will snap out of it and at least hit some home runs and be productive. It's bad enough when guys are averages is low, but take a guy like Hicks, at least he's hit some homers and he's knocked in some runs. So you can deal with it if they get, some clutch hits every once in a while. Yeah,
and right now the Yankees are 2.5 games behind Boston. Everyone's bunched up in the American League East. I mean, even Baltimore, who's 15 and 16, is only 3.5 games behind Boston. But with the Yankees, the pitching they're getting, and now they're starting to hit, and the fact that they're playing Washington, who's really struggling this year. I mean, it'd be nice if they can sweep Washington, or at worst take 2 out of 3. That'd be nice to win 3 straight series and start climbing out of, getting over 500.
Yeah, fortunately they're in a division. There's some teams that can potentially be good, like the Rays and the Jays, but there's nobody. I don't see anybody like the Rays or the Jays winning like 93, 94 games.
No, neither do I. I think the Rays will find a way to be there at the end. And, hopefully the Yankees become the team that everyone thought they would be as it gets warmer and more people start attending games later in the year. Hopefully the Yankees can, start building a lead a little bit. And I just want to jump ahead to tomorrow. It's a good matchup. You got Corey Kluber going against Max Scherzer tomorrow.
Oh, that's a great matchup.
Yeah. Two really good pitchers. I think Scherzer is a former Cy Young winner. I'm pretty sure he is. And if that's the case, you'll have two Cy Young Award winners going at it tomorrow.
Yeah, he's been a great pitcher for a long time. I think he just became a father.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this week.
And going to the Yankee game tonight right now, Taylon, he's given up 2 home runs so far in this inning, and the Nats have taken the lead 2-1. Or no, it's 3-1. I'm sorry. He gave up a solo and a 2-run home run now.
Yeah, I just turned my head and I looked back. He gave up more home runs, so I can't turn my head no more.
Yeah, he just left that pitch right over the middle. He has good stuff. He has great strikeout stuff. He struck out 8 in 5 innings in his last outing, but he has a tendency to get roughed up here, every now and then. Yeah,
like we keep saying, he hasn't really pitched too much in the last few years. So I mean, I don't know if you're going to get a lot of consistency from him because, I mean, I think he can be a plus pitcher winning double figures, but the Yankees took a shot with him along with Kluber this whole season, and how those guys go will tell a lot what kind of year they'll have.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't walk many hitters. He's got 6 walks to 29 strikeouts coming into the game. But as far as giving up home runs, he's given up the most home runs of any Yankee pitcher with 7 so far, and that's not including the 2 he gave up tonight. So he's given up 9 home runs on the season so far.
Well, maybe when the hitters get in there, they get a little too comfortable because they always know he's going to be around the plate.
Yeah.
And maybe if he knocked a few guys down or something, threw inside a little more. I don't know if that's against the rules anymore in the major leagues, pitching inside. But you don't want these guys to get comfortable.
No, I saw that in the Houston series. The Houston pitcher early in the game threw one up and into Stanton. It wasn't close to hitting him, but it was up and in, and Stanton had to move out of the way. And right away, the umpire's warning both benches. And, pitchers should be allowed to pitch up and in just to make a guy like Stanton, who's on fire, you want him uncomfortable at the plate if you're an opposing pitcher. And to automatically get warned if you do go up and in, it does. It takes a little bit away from the game because pitchers, it's strategic. You're trying to set up the next pitch, and then that pitch sets up the next pitch. And someone like Roger Clemens, I don't think would be able to pitch in this era.
No, because the way it is now, you just look for the ball over the plate or on the outside part of the plate. And it's like if pitchers can't pitch inside, I mean, it's like almost like a one-pitch tournament because you only have to guard 2 areas instead of 3.
Yeah. And I've noticed a lot of they're pounding that strike zone up in the strike zone with fastballs, and then they're throwing their breaking stuff down and low. And the pitchers, I will say, in today's game, they have some wicked off-speed stuff. All these pitchers today with the spin rate and whatnot, I mean, they do have really wicked off-speed stuff.
Yeah, I know you watch these games and the way these balls can move. It's really amazing. I mean,
yeah.
The consistency they can have, and like the way the ball breaks and breaks down in the zone. I mean, it's not easy to be a hitter.
No. Yeah, and let's just check it something. Yeah, I mean, the hitters today. I mean, I think that's why the home runs are down and the strikeouts are up. I mean, these pitchers today just have really good secondary pitches. I mean, everyone can throw a fastball, and it is. I mean, they say the hardest thing in baseball is to hit a fastball, And when you're geared up to try to hit a fastball and all of a sudden you got a curveball that has a 12-6 break or a slider that all of a sudden just tails away at you at the last end, and it's hard. It's hard to hit today.
Yeah, and they changed the baseballs too, I heard.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I was wondering. What are the balls like this year? Major League Baseball is constantly putting in new balls and taking them out depending on how the season's going.
Yeah, it's because I know now it's early in the year and it's cold and stuff, but it'll be interesting to see, when the weather heats up, with a run production, the home runs come back into play. We don't want to see too many homers. Like to see little small ball once in a while, but that's something to look forward to in the next few months. Yeah,
and I just see an injury report update. Urshella went for an MRI on his left knee today, but it says he's available to come off the bench. So I guess his left knee's a little banged up. But
okay.
the fact that he can come off the bench tells me that there's no structural damage or no sprain or anything like that.
Okay. That's well. Didn't he play shortstop the other day?
I'm not sure. I didn't catch a lot of the games this week. I did catch the one yesterday.
Yeah, he played shortstop, I believe, one game.
Okay, and Hicks, it just shows you his last 6 games is batting .450, 9 for his last 20. So he's starting to warm up.
Yeah, just keep him a little lower in the lineup. We don't need him hitting third.
No. And I can't wait for Luke Voit to get back. I mean, because he adds another, he's another dynamic hitter. And Paul O'Neill was making a joke yesterday when they showed you that he's 4 for 6 with the home run and double. And Paul O'Neill's like, Luke, save some of those hits for when you get back. Because he's looking good at the plate. They just want to get, him to shake off the rust for at least a week or two. But if he keeps hitting, he'll probably be up next week.
Yeah, he comes down, I think they come down here to Tampa on Monday, the Yankees. I'm not sure. I believe early next week.
Yeah, I think you're right. I know they play the Rays again. Yeah, after this series, they come back down to Tampa to play Tampa for 3 games, and then they go to Baltimore for 3, and then they go to Texas for 4 games. So they got a 10-game road trip after this homestand with that finishes up with Washington.
Well, maybe they can keep this going. I mean, I know the Rays have been struggling a little bit, and Texas is. I think Texas is struggling, and maybe they can win 6-7 games and get a few games over 500 again, and then they can take off.
Yeah, I mean, if they're able to sweep Washington here, that would put them 4 games over 500, going into the Tampa series. Oh, Gary Sanchez just hit a solo home run to make it 3-2 Washington. But Sanchez, he hit that one pretty far. If he can start hitting, that would be nice.
Yeah, he's got to he's got to be productive. If he wants to stay in the game, he's got to, he's got to stop striking out. I mean, he's got something a lot of catchers don't have. He's got a lot of power, and he can knock in runs. And I mean, if he can just, get around 250, it's a big asset.
And I've noticed the last 3 games he's played in, he's jumping on the first pitch, and he's made really good contact when he has. And this was on the first pitch, and he got a breaking ball that hung up in the zone. So he's being aggressive right away, because a lot of pitchers, try to get that first pitch over for a strike. So I've noticed he's been swinging at the first pitch a lot the last few games he's been in.
Well, that's good. It's good to see him aggressive. At least he's going out there and, trying to shake this slump. So hopefully he can do it.
Yeah, and it was off a lefty tonight. So he does hit lefties good, and I wonder if at some point, if Higgy starts hitting too, if you might see a platoon thing where, Higgy's in there against right-handers and Sanchez left-handers, but it'll be interesting to keep an eye on the catcher spot this year to see how it goes, because Boone says it's day to day, until someone actually claims that spot.
Yeah, I think out of both the catchers combined, they have, 7 home runs this year?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Higgy's got 4, and where is it? Yeah, Higgy's got 4, and Sanchez,
I think he's got 3.
He's got 3. Yeah, so 7 home runs. Yeah, which isn't bad.
No, if they can both combine for 30 homers and 80 to 100 RBIs, I mean, that's good production.
Yeah. And have you heard anything on Clark Schmidt, if he started throwing at all or anything?
I haven't heard anything. I don't think he's been throwing at all. It is good, at least the minor league season to start.
Yeah.
So I know down here in Tampa, Anthony Volpe, first round pick, and Austin Wells are down here in Tampa, and they've been hitting the ball pretty well. The Tampa Tarpons have scored almost 40 runs in the first 3 or 4 games. So,
really?
Yeah, they're knocking the cover off the ball.
Do you know if Estevan Florial is with AAA?
He's in AA.
Okay.
And he hit a home run his first at bat.
No kidding.
Yeah. Now that's Somerset. I think he's down there in Summer. He's up by you, Robert. So.
Yeah, if he can start, improve his hitting, he's a nice asset to have. Even as a 5th outfielder or 6th outfielder.
Yeah, well, the big knock on him is, it's hitting.
Yeah,
because he can cover the ground and he's a good outfielder. But missing that year last year didn't help any of these kids, and hopefully he can. Though he did get in the game last year and he got his first major league hit, but with what happened last season, it didn't help any of the minor leaguers.
Yeah, Andujar just flew out, but he hit it to dead center on the warning track. So he's I think he's locked in right now. I would be surprised if Andujar has a couple of hits tonight. The way he's swinging, gave that ball, he just got under it and drove it to the warning track in center.
Yeah, I think most of the Yankees outs tonight, they've hit the ball pretty hard. So so at least the bats are starting to come around.
Yeah, I mean, 3 weeks ago, the Yankees, they were struggling. They couldn't hit. They were 4-6 last week. We were 6-4, and this week we're 7-3. So their schedule set, line, so that they can make up some ground and start putting some distance behind, between some of these teams. That'd be nice next week if we talk and they got, if they're 4, 5, 6 games over 500.
Yeah, hopefully they can start taking off. Some of these guys have a history of hitting well, and hopefully it'll continue.
Yeah, because like I said, you got 3 with Washington. Tampa always plays them tough down there in Tampa, but then 3 with Baltimore. They love hitting Camden Yards, and then 4 with Texas. I'm not sure how Texas is doing this year, but that's another hitter's ballpark, and if our hitters are coming around like they show they have been, we could be rattling off some series wins.
Yeah, and the nightmare that started the season will be a distant memory.
Yeah. It looked grim there in the beginning for a while. I really thought this was going to be a long year, but I'm starting to see signs of hope. And the Yankees bullpen has the best ERA in Major League Baseball, and I think the starting rotation has the best ERA in the American League. So their pitching so far has been what's really kept them in games and helping them win until this past week when the hitters started chipping in and helping out a little.
Yeah, Chapman has been just outstanding. I don't think he's given up a run all.
No, he's lights out. He's been basically almost unhittable, I think.
Yeah, and I've noticed his velocity. Last year it was 99, 100. He's got a couple pitches. He's thrown quite a few pitches, like 102, 103 miles an hour this year. So,
he's
picked it up.
Yeah, and he's incorporated a split finger fastball in his repertoire too. And so far, he hasn't given up a single run on the year. He's only given up 2 hits in 11 innings, and he's struck out 26 batters in 11 innings so far this year. So, I mean, yeah, he's been damn near unhittable.
Yeah, and I mean, when he comes in, sometimes he has stretches, where he throws a lot of pitches and walks people, but now he just comes in there and he's lights out.
Yeah, and opponents are only batting 0.57 off of him. So, I mean, he's been really hard to hit. And Stanton even mentioned it, I think, yesterday, that he's must-watch TV. He looks that good this year.
Yeah, he's really been outstanding.
Yeah, and even Jonathan Loaiza, he's I think got an ERA under 1.2. Yeah, he's got an ERA of 0.98, and he's only given up 11 hits in 18 innings, and he struck out 18 with only 3 walks, and hitters are only batting 177 off of him. So Loaiza's been a nice asset coming out of the bullpen so far.
Yeah, I mean, they can bring, he can start some games, and they can get him, like, Green will maybe throw an inning, and then they can bring him in for 3 or 4 innings. So he's really looked good.
Yeah, and also Michael King, I know he'll be back up soon. He was another one. He has 11 scoreless innings pitched, and he's looked lights out to begin the year. So it'll be nice when they get him back up here as well.
Yeah, I think he got called up the other day. So he's in the bullpen. He's in the bullpen.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, and Garrett Cole, I'm looking at his numbers. He's only given up 29 hits in 44 2/3 inning, and he's got 66 strikeouts to only 3 walks and just over 44 innings. So he's having a Garrett Cole type of year to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, New York fans are lucky. They got 2 of the best pitchers in baseball. Right, with in New York.
Yeah, and like we were talking about Kluber before. I mean, if Kluber continues to progress the way he has been, and you can get a pitcher anywhere near his Cy Young years, I mean, you got a nice 1-2 punch with him and Kluber, because Kluber's pitches have a lot of life on them.
Yeah, he's really have to have outstanding control, and maybe later in the season, if his arm gets a little stronger, he can get it up there at 93, 94 miles an hour.
Yeah, and prior to the year beginning, the Yankee scouts said the one pitcher they expect to take a big leap this year is Jordan Montgomery. And as every start he's been in, he's looking better and better. I mean, and he's not getting killed with the walks like he had been in the past years. So his controls have been a lot better, and he's looked better in each and every start. So they could have a nice 1-2-3, rotation with Cole, Kluber, and Montgomery. And if Herman continues to improve, he's pitched well his last few games. They could be all right in their starting rotation. I think the big question mark so far for me is Taylon, the guy they got from the Pirates. He seems to be up and down.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit. He looked good against the Tigers his last time out. Montgomery looked, he struggled a little the other day, but he hung in there. And, I mean, some of his pitches were really moving. So
yeah.
If, get everything together, I mean, he could win 15 games.
Yeah, and he grinded out a nice 6 innings. I think he only gave up 3 runs, but 3 runs is a quality start and keeps your team in the game.
Yeah, usually with the Yankees, if they give up 3 or 4 runs in 7 innings, they're going to win 70% of the time.
Yeah, and I don't think Boston's going to sustain what they've been doing. I think they're starting to come back down to earth a little bit. So I think if the Yankees continue to win series, they'll start creeping up the standings, and I think it'd be them and Tampa that will be battling it out.
Yeah, because like we were saying, I mean, Tampa's got the potential to win 90 games, 90, 91, 90. But I don't see anybody like, winning 95, 96 games. I think the only team that can do that is the Yankees. But, if they play like the Yankees are capable of playing, they should have no trouble in the division. But if they struggle like they did in the first week of the season, it could be a different story.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Tampa. They're 7-10 at home at Tropicana, but 11-5 on the road. So Tampa's been playing better on the road. So maybe the Yankees can beat them up at home in this next series. Maybe they can reverse what Tampa Bay's been doing to them the last few years, because Tampa's been beating up on the Yankees at Tropicana. But it looks like, this year Tampa's struggling a little bit at home.
Yeah, I think the Rays have beaten the Yankees the last 18 out of 23 games, and even when the Rays were losing 95, 100 games, and the Yankees were winning 100 games, they used to come down here to Tampa, and they'd always give the Yankees fits.
Yeah. And looking at the National League standings, Philadelphia is in first place by a game over the Mets and a game and a half over the Braves. I still think Joe Girardi's going to, be able to get Philadelphia into the playoffs this year. People think Braves and Mets, but I think the Phillies might get a wild card in that division.
Yeah, they've spent a lot of money trying to build the team, and hopefully all their efforts will get rewarded. And another thing, Robert, it makes you appreciate how good. Well, Girardi was a good manager, but also how good Didi.
Oh yeah, Didi. When his stats got better every single year until he came back from that injury that last season. His stats took a little dive, but prior to that, the first 4 or 5 years, his stats just kept getting better and better and better. He kept improving as a player offensively.
Yeah, there was talk of Didi coming back to the Yankees, and it just makes you think, hindsight. It's always, well, that's what we do, we have something to bitch about, but what would have happened if, they would have kept Didi?
Yeah, I know this offseason, Didi, they asked him, would he like to come back to New York, and he just said, New York will always be my home, and there were reports that he would have jumped at the chance to come back to New York, even if it was for less money. So I wonder I think Torres will get better as the year goes on at shortstop, but I think if Didi will be a free agent after this year again, I think, and it'd be interesting to see what happens this year at short if Torres continues to improve or if he continues to struggle. They might have to make a move to bring in a shortstop.
Because you have Didi, you don't have all the juggling you have to do now. Now you don't know if Torres doesn't improve, what are you're gonna have Tyler Wade. You might have Tyler Wade late in the big games later in the season coming in, or even in the playoffs. You get to a decisive game, you might have Tyler Wade starting. So we'll see. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, and but yeah, we've had a good week, and we got Washington's having a tough year, and tomorrow, like I said, we got Kluber going up against Scherzer, which will be a great game, and then on Sunday you got Herman going against Ross. So the Yankees could easily sweep this series if the pitching does what they're supposed to and our hitters continue to hit. That'd be nice, taking 3 and go 4 games over 500.
Well, you just got to keep winning those series,
Yeah. Whether it's 2 out of 3, 3 out of 4, or even a sweep, That's the one thing Girardi stressed when he was a manager: just win series. Got to sweep, just take the series, and at the end of the year, your record will be be good enough to win. Yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can continue the way they've been playing.
Yeah. What are you looking forward to, or are you going to keep an eye on this week going forward?
Well, I'm just hoping, like guys like Frazier and Torres, they can keep hitting, and Stanton can keep on with the pace he's going. And, looking forward to Voit maybe coming back and see what Andujar does and see if this, starting pitching continues. So, there's always something to look forward to when you're a Yankee fan. You love the good times, and then the few bad things you have something to bitch about. But for the most part, we're very lucky being Yankee fans.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my eye on Stanton. I like to see him keep this hitting streak going. That'd be nice. And I would like to see Judge start turning it around, because if you get Stanton producing like he is at the number 2 hole, and then Judge producing it in number 3, that's deadly. And I'm going to keep an eye on Andujar as well, because if Andujar hits, the Yankees will find a way to keep him in the lineup.
Yeah, I know. It's been the last 3 years. It's been pretty tough on him and stuff. And I give him credit for keeping his head up and not getting discouraged, because the guy could have been on a lot of other teams and been very productive the last 3 years. Instead of he's been, bouncing up and down between Scranton and New York, and he's got too much talent for that.
Oh yeah, and do you know who they sent down to bring Andujar up? I forgot to see who they sent down. Did they send down Mike Ford, or is Mike Ford still up here, Dean?
I believe they sent down Mike Ford.
Okay, yeah. And I know Odor, I think they put him on the IL, right, with the sprained knee?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the 10-day or, the 15-day. But I know he's not coming back, in the next week or so. Yeah.
This week's been good. I mean, at the top of our lineup's hitting. Our bullpen leads the majors in ERA. Our starters have the best ERA in the American League. So our pitching's been good, and our hitting looks like it's coming around. And, if they can all get hot at the same time, I mean, the Yankees can start, ripping off some big stretches here. That'd be nice to see.
Well, we'll see starting tonight what happens.
Yeah, and we've been saying in the past couple of weeks, each week the Yankees' record in the last 10 games keeps getting better. Maybe when we talk next week, they'll be 8-2. They went 6-4 last week, 7-3 this week, and maybe next week when we talk, they'll be 8-2.
Well, that would be great, but we'll find out shortly.
Yeah. Well, as always, Jack, it's been a pleasure, and same time next week.
Yep, sounds great. Good luck with everything, Robert.
Thank you, Jack, and to everyone listening out there, we'll be back next Friday, and our show's always posted the following day. So keep listening, and thank you.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices, and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.